Today we get a story time of this spoiled kid who goes completely crazy on this subscriber and even goes as far to say stuff as out of pocket as my daddy could buy you, which bro, that's a little bit not okay. Like, are you serious? Leave a like in the video to claim your free nothing. And let's call today's subscriber, let's call him Brent. So this all happened one time in 5th grade when Brent and another kid, this spoiled kid, and we're just going to call him the spoiled kid, right? They were both interested in the same girl. And the thing is, right, they weren't into any polyamorous relationships, so only one of them was going to get this girl. Or maybe none of them. Maybe she doesn't want any of them, right? But either way, they're in a bit of a competition with each other. So Brent and the spoiled kid, while it's not super, like, they're not like, oh, let the best man win or whatever, they kind of knew that, like, they were both going, they both wanted to, like, start dating the same girl, and that, like, only one of them could, and they were kind of getting a little bit competitive. So they were both trying to talk to her, and, like, this girl, like, probably wasn't being the best, because she was talking to both of them. But anyways, that doesn't even matter, bro. But she was talking to both of them, and Brent and the spoiled kid were kind of like neck to neck in like who was actually gonna who was gonna court her or whatever. I don't know, dude. But anyways, right? So one day, right, Brent is like, you know what? I'm just going to ask her out on a date today at lunch. I'm going to ask her, or like before, I'm going to ask her out on a date till lunch today, just us at a table. And let's just see how it goes. So sure enough, right, Brent texts this girl and says, hey, do you want to get lunch with me? Just you and I. Let's call it a date. Just to make it very clear that they're not having some kind of friendship lunch or something, that this is like the real deal when it comes to like, it's a date lunch. It's a full-on date, right? And sure enough, right, shout out to Brent. He won. He got the W today because, she said, yeah, I'd love to. And the thing is, right, the spoiled kid was kind of aware of what Brent was doing. Brent to this day doesn't know who the rat was, but there was a rat in his friend group that was like telling telling the spoiled kid like everything that Brent was about to do before he did it, just so that the spoiled kid could feel as if he was like catching up or keeping at least on track with Brent. And anyways, he gets word that Brent is planning on asking her out. And sure enough, right, the spoiled kid is like, I gotta beat him to it. So the spoiled kid sends the girl a message saying, hey, do you want to go out on a date with me at lunch? And, the spoiled kid waits for an answer, sees the 3 dots of typing, and sees the girl respond like, sorry, I'm actually going out with Brent. You're a nice guy, though. And the spoiled kid was so angry. He was when the spoiled kid doesn't get what he wants, bro, he goes absolutely psycho. He goes absolutely crazy because for his entire life, whenever he asked for something, he would never receive a no. He had never been told no in his life, basically. So sure enough, right, the spoiled kid, he was mad. He was angry, and he was going to express his rage at lunch. This is where things get absolutely crazy. So anyways, it's lunchtime, and, Brent gets there early, and he finds a table, and his friends are making sure no one else sits at the table. And it's like a 4-person table, and he sits there, and sure enough, right, the girl comes out, and Brent kind of looks at her, waves at her, and she waves back and smiles and sits right down. So things seem like they're going well. In fact, Brent, kind of a good talker, man. He's a smooth talker. He's talking well, good conversationalist. He's just killing it right now, man. Like, shout out to Brent. However, right, Brent in the corner of his eye sees another kid enter the lunchroom. This kid happens to be the spoiled kid. And he knows the spoiled kid is probably not too happy right now. So he doesn't really think much of it. He just thinks the spoiled kid's going to be mad and, I don't know, cry and complain to his friends at a different table or whatever. But he doesn't really care. However, Brent starts to realize something kind of weird is happening. That weird thing is that the spoiled kid is looking, first of all, he's looking furious. His fists are balled up. His brow is furrowed. He looks angry. Instead of going to sit at another table, he seems to be walking right towards Brent. So the spoiled kid walks up to Brent and this girl and is just looking at them. And he's just like huffing and puffing. And Brent is like, bro, is everything okay? Are you good? Because, right, Brent and this girl were in the middle of like some kind of conversation. And all of a sudden, this guy just kind of randomly comes up, super angry, super mad. And he looks at Brent. He's like, you. And Brent's like, yeah, you took away my one love. And at this point, like, Brent's like, oh God, this is going to be like a full-on altercation. Brent was kind of hoping that this would be like, he would say something, then leave really quickly. But Brent could kind of tell from right away that, like, nah, dude, this was going to be long, drawn out, and unnecessarily stupid, which he was 100% right. It was all of those things for sure. So the spoiled kid is like, looks at the girl and says, why? Why would you choose him over me? And the girl's like, all right, dude, like, I was talking to both of you, and he just happened to ask me out, and I said yes. You didn't ask me out in time, and, like, now that, like, I'm realizing how crazy you are, like, I'm happy I chose to go out with Brent over you. And this just makes the spoiled kid even more mad. Real quick, comment spoiled down below if you'd like a heart in your comment. That's the secret word of the day. Follow me on Instagram at ConnorPugs. It's in the description. That's also where you can send in your videos, and make sure the notifications are turned on. Anyways, right, the spoiled kid is looking at them, and it's like, why would you choose him over me? My dad is much richer. And at this point, right, Brent is like, hey, bro, like, you know this is not how you're going to win her over. And the spoiled kid looks at Brent and says, yes, it is. That's all that she cares about. She's definitely just one who wants money. And the girl's like, bro, what are you saying? And Brent is like, hey, man, like, don't come for her. It's like, it's not her fault that she didn't pick you over me. Like, it's kind of just on you. At the end of the day, she saw the two of us, and obviously, by this interaction, she's pretty happy she chose me. And at this point, this is when the spoiled kid, he started getting super, super angry. And he wasn't directing his anger at the girl anymore. He was directing it 100% at Brent. He's like, you will regret this. My father owns a very powerful lawyer company business. Bro, first of all, if you call your father's business lawyer company business, bro, you don't know what you're saying. Second of all, he's just like, and he will sue you. He will sue your mom. He will sue your dog. He will sue your grandparents. He will sue your face. And after suing you to a billion pieces, he will buy you and then sue you again. And the girl's like, hey, bro, pause. Like, you just said, you know, he's gonna sue your dog, sue your face, buy him. Bro, that's not even legal. What? And the spoiled kid is like, you'll regret this, and then sprints away. Just like sprints away from the two of them. Probably gonna run into the bathroom to cry about how the girl didn't like him back. Which, like, relatable, but, oh, man. But anyways, the first part's not relatable. The sprinting to the bathroom crying because the girl didn't like you back is relatable to 6th grade me at this bar mitzvah. That's a story for another day. 2,000 likes on this video, and I'll tell that story on the channel within the week. Anyways, back to the topic. The next day, you know, Brent and this girl, you know, they decide to go on another date, and, you know, soon enough, they start dating. But before that happens, right, you know, one day, you know, Brent comes back from school, and he goes back to his house, and Brent's mom's like, hey, Brent, can you explain this letter to me? And Brent completely forgot about the whole thing that happened with the spoiled kid at the lunch a couple days ago. And he looks at the letter, and he sees it's a printed out letter that is typed up that says, Dear Mr. and Mrs. Brent's last name. I don't know what it is. Insert a name, right? You will be sued because your son is such a bad guy. Prepare to be sued. From spoiled kid. He says his actual name, right? And Brent explains the whole thing, and his mom kind of looks at him like, bro, like, the people at your school are crazy. Like, I'm glad you found the friends you have, and that you, because, like, if this kid is the average kid at your school, I'm pulling you out of this school. This is crazy. Brent looks at his mom and says, hey, Mom, do you mind if I bring that letter into school? And she's like, yeah, that's totally fine. It's not like this is actually, like, a legal letter that I need to worry about. So Brent goes into school, and he finds the spoiled kid in one of his classes, and he goes up to him, he's like, dude, shows him the letter, and the spoiled kid's like, yeah, are you scared now, bro? And Brent is like, dude, do you know how the law works? And the spoiled kid's like, yeah, my dad is a super successful lawyer with a law company or something. Didn't you listen to me a couple days ago? This is directly from him. He said it's going to destroy you. And Brent is like, bro, I know one or two things about the law. I'm no expert. I don't, you know, I didn't pass the bar or anything, right? I'm not some guy who knows this, but I do know one thing, that you can't sue someone for being a jerk. And also, like, if someone was going to be sued for being a jerk, bro, it would be you. Like, let's be real, if that was a thing you could be tried for in, like, a criminal case, it would be you who would be losing this. And the spoiled kid's like, well, we'll see. Prepare to get sued. And yeah, sure enough, this story happened like to the subscriber 2 or 3 months ago. And yeah, there has been no lawsuit that has happened for him being a jerk. Which, okay, a spoiler, surprise. Click on the video on screen right now. I know you'll enjoy it. Just click it, do it.